Okay, now we've just come into this area, which may be called the outer court. Just a wild guess on my part. The buildings that you see here and in the background were probably just support buildings. There's no signage on this building, so I'll just use this as an opportunity to look at the detail. As usual, the gorgeous blue. Whatever the building is for, there's an admission charge. It's pretty obvious that whatever the exhibits or facilities are inside this building, which you pay for, it looks like at different places. It was not expected, although I don't know that it's prohibited, that foreigners like myself would go in, since there's absolutely no English. Here I think you can take picture, get dressed up like something like an emperor or an empress, and then have your picture taken. I was approached a few minutes ago by a young man who spoke pretty good English, who is from, he says, Xi'an, and he is in an art school there, a calligraphy school there, and they're having their exhibition here. He says it's done by noon today, and then they won't be here any longer. When I went in, he wanted to show me his stuff, and I said, fine, I'd like to look at it. And at first I thought it was going to be a scam, because his professor started doing something for me, which is usually the entree. It's for you, it's free until they get done, and then they want you to pay for it. And then the place had much of things that looked like they were for sale, but then he said they were not for sale. He made no attempt to sell me anything. He did show me work that was his and from his professor. So now we will leave this, which I think is the outer city, and we will enter into that area there where those portals are, and then we cannot come back. We have to exit to the north. Mostly what I see are just all kinds of tourist gewgaws and so forth things. So the route to the inner city seems mainly a place you must pass through in order to regulate and control the hordes that move, but it's primarily a place where it's hoped that you can siphon off a number of people who buy the gewgaws here. Okay, I am now orientated. Here is where we're going to enter in through the Meridian Gate, or Wu Wen. And you can see the U configuration facing us. The hordes are really incredible. And these are mainly Chinese, but and probably other Asians that I don't have the ability to distinguish between. And it's behind there then that is the inner city, which is how the emperor managed to avoid having any connection with his subjects. I'm not sure that the pharaohs of Egypt went that far to so myopically guarantee that their subjects would have no connection to them or even see them. Okay, now we can take a look at this map from the DK guidebook. We've just entered in through here. The video I took out there was taken about right there. And now I'm standing just below this area here where I've entered in. And now we'll proceed on in. This is the Forbidden City. Now these, I'm just going to give a cursory bit of information. These are the 5 bridges that symbolize the 5 cardinal virtues of Confucianism, crossing over the Golden Water, which is presumably a little river there that runs. This is the outer court, this area we were in. I'm just talking about the labels on the map here. This is the Gate of Supreme Harmony that's in front of us. And I'll stop there and pan this area, and then we'll walk through it. This is the offices of the Imperial Secretariat. I assume that was in the time of the Emperor. Okay, here's where I entered. And now I'm panning across, if you can make it out behind the hordes, the 5 marble bridges. Notice the similarity of those walls, if you will, that form the banisters of the bridges, that it's similar to what's going on around my hostel. And in the background, the gate of Supreme Harmony. Only the Emperor was allowed to walk up that center portion, which I'm sure we'll get a closer look at. There were also, they kept pots, large bronze pots filled with water in case there was fire. You can imagine, like with Yellowstone's Old Faithful Lodge, the rapid destruction by fire that these wooden buildings are prey to. Now this sign, which I'm guessing was not here in the time of the Emperor, since everything that he deposited on this earth was handled with utmost reverence, is the most important sign for me, toilet, and with an arrow pointing to the left. Now the Hall of Ceramics is over here, and I might just go take a look at that. This is a common surface, walking surface, sloped walking surface construct. There's a little butterfly. It also is reminiscent of the sides of some of the buildings that slope, where they indented a bit here for traction. And it serves well when you're walking down a slope. It seems to be just right. I went through that portal up there in the wall down to this park-like area, which I'm going to explore. But here are the bathrooms, though. It's very good to know. I love roofs. They are where much often the prettiest, most unique design elements of a building are. Whether here, or in Berlin, or Rome. Funny, when I do this, sometimes people stop or start looking up to find out what it is I find fascinating. So this tells us that we're going to the East Gate. Now, whether this was, again, considered part of the outer city, or whether this was a park for the Emperor, or even a park, I don't know.